Good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon, sir. ICS Rajesh Tarpara, Council Member of the ICSI, extend a warm welcome to all of you, and especially our special guests, special esteemed dignity on the virtual mode, Sri Sidil Sasi, Deputy General Manager from MCA offices, from e-governance cells, and also we have with us a technical team from LTI, and also our Honorable President Dhananjay Shukla sir, Vice President Pawan Chandak sir, and dear all participants and delegates and stakeholders of the MCA. I warmly welcome on the launch of annual filing e-forms MCA V3 portal. At the outset, I would like to brief that the ICSI is constantly endeavoring to build the capacity building as well as make the user more user friendly toward the technical initiative by MCA. And Triple E has really proved this in a path. I am thankful to the President and the Council for entrusting me for moderating these sessions and taking this initiative for the betterment and for the development of the members at large. The launch of the annual filings forms, that is, there are almost 38 forms which are to be launched on V3 portal to educate and familiar with all the technicalities and transition phase and logic behind the various forms is to be dealt with in these kind of the seminars. The purpose of webinar is to ensure smooth functioning, minimizing compliance errors, technical glitches that should be not there, and procedural changes and logic running behind each and every forms is to be explained in the filing process. So forms like AOC 4, MGT 7, MGT 7A, and MGT 8, and moreover relevant forms are to be dealt with. And V3 and these kind of the webinar play a very vital role to make the members aware. At the outset and to set the tone, I straight away request Vice President CS Pawan Chandakji to please brief on this today's occasion.
Thank you, Rajesh Tarparaji, my council colleague and very active council member in not only MCA V3 but various other matters of members and students services. Very good afternoon to all of you. My President, Honorable CS Dhananjay Shuklaji, I recognize his presence. All the respected officials from the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, like Sidil Sesiji and various panelists, and all my members of the Institute who are present online for this webinar. I welcome you all for this launch of annual filing forms on MCA-21 V3 portal. Friends, this V3 portal is in the last stage of implementation. The 38 more forms, which is a final forms, set of forms, which is going to be made applicable to all the e-filings, and V2 would be no more function or the utility which is there. Friends, this V3 launch has made that we need to plan, and plan needs to work, because unless and until we work on a plan and plan needs to be worked, it cannot happen that we as a governance professionals and the company secretaries, whether on the practicing side or on the corporate side of the profession, we won't be able to give our continuous efforts, give our continuous support to our either clients or the company in which we are working. So this V3 is definitely going to make a change, and this change is for the better. I know at Institute ICSI, we all know that this change won't be easy change because of the various utilities and various other factors. But definitely when we see at the future, we always see at the future with hope, lot of hope and positivities. And these new versions, the technological advancements and various new initiatives by the MCA so as to increase the ease of doing business across the all the functions of the company secretaries and corporate India, which I think is a need of our. But we are uh, very competent to handle all these V3 versions and filling in. I'm happy that ICSI, to inform you all, that ICSI has already given deputed few members from our institute, around 10 officers, for UAT testing. It has started from today at the back end, and it would be going on for 10 more days at MCA headquarters in Delhi. So we are already on the task, and we are understanding the nitty-gritties of this V3 portal and the functioning. And I'm sure with the help of the LTI team and MCA officials, we as ICSI would definitely be able to navigate this change for the betterment of our profession. Friends, uh, few the first phase of this interaction is done by MCA along with our sister institute, but we have also requested our MCA officials that the second round should happen at our ICSI premises across India, and I'm hopeful that this would be done sooner than the latter. So, friends, various forms like AOC4, MGT7, we all know, all these would be in V3 form. But the moment V3, everything is applicable. So, there is a chance that if you have any old filing to be completed or any old years to be filed with MCA, do it fast because MCA V2 would not be there. So, again, with the change, I'm hopeful that this change would be for the betterment of our profession, and I have full confidence in the team MCA and team LTI that they will navigate this change for the betterment of our profession. I wish all the best to all our professional brothers and sisters. So the and be prepared for the challenges and also the opportunities. Friends, opportunity doesn't come without challenges, and there are always a challenges, and it is followed by the opportunities. So, friends, I wish that we all are ready to not only tap but encash all the opportunities which are lying before us and which would be lying before us in the future. So, with the all the best wishes and prayers for everyone, I hand over to the Rajesh Tarparaji to take this
Thank
webinar.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pavanji. Thank you, Vice President, sir, with your words and motivational introduction regarding the opportunities and challenges that are being faced and that will be as a company secretary can deliver is a good. And I'm sure that we being an extended arm of the MCA will leave no any stone unturned. Now it is a time to hear from our honorable and beloved President C.S. Dhananjay Shukla. Sir, over to you, sir.
सभी को नमस्कार. Good afternoon to one and all. Respected Cyril Sasi Saab, esteemed professional, other dignitaries and valued stakeholders. It is with immense pride and a sense of collective progress that I am here today this afternoon to mark the launch of the annual filing forms under the MCA-21 version V3 portal. This moment is not just a technological upgrade. It is a significant step towards strengthening corporate governance, enhancing compliance standards, and reinforcing India's commitment to digital transformation. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs has always been at forefront to reform, and the introduction of MCA 21 V3 is a landmark initiative under the Government of India's vision of ease of doing business. As President of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, I firmly believe that this transition is to a more robust and intelligent system which will empower the professionals to deliver a greater value to the corporate sector. It will also foster a culture of positive compliance to reduce procedural errors, and it will improve the overall quality of disclosures made by the company. The launch also reaffirms the crucial role that the technology and governance must play together in shaping the future of the corporate India. The ICSI is fully aligned with this vision and ICSI stands committed to supporting the Ministry of Corporate Affairs in the transformational journey. We will continue to offer our support, guidance, training, and knowledge to ensure that professionals across the country can adapt to these new systems confidently and competently. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs, in its constant endeavor of assisting the stakeholder, will be conducting seminars across the country to introduce seamless launch of annual filing forms on MCA-21 V3 portal and educating the professionals on transmitting Form V2 to V3 that our Vice President was also mentioning. The seminars are kick-starting from 4th June 2025 in the city of Joy, Kolkata. The second seminar for the professionals is scheduled on 9th June at Ahmedabad. Third such session to be conducted on 10th June in financial capital of the country, Mumbai. Fourth session is going to be scheduled on 11th June at Delhi. Fifth session is on 13th June as ICSI CCGRT Hyderabad. And sixth seminar is scheduled on 14th June 2025 at Chennai. This webinar and upcoming scheduled seminars will serve as platform for the MCA to communicate directly with the stakeholders, to receive feedback, and to address any immediate concerns which professionals might be having. All stakeholders also are requested to take note of that filings of these e-forms on the V2 portal. Shutdown will be executed following the transition to V3 portal, and e-forms filings on V2 will be disabled from 18th of June 2025 from 12 a.m. And all professionals are requested to plan their filings accordingly. In conclusion, I congratulate the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and all the stakeholders for this forward-thinking initiative, and I extend my heartfelt appreciation to all the stakeholders who have worked tirelessly to bring this MCA-21 V3 version to life. Let us together embrace this change and reaffirm our shared commitment to build a transparent, compliant, and digitally empowered corporate ecosystem. All I can say to my stakeholders, particularly company secretary, that the ICSI stands with you in all your endeavors, and whatever the challenges we will be facing, we will sort out together along with the MCA. And so far as the so far as the approach of the MCA has been, it has been very forward-looking, very supportive, and Sidil Sasiji has been always there to support our endeavors to tackle the issues which we may foresee. So I'm sure that collectively we will work out a very seamless transition, and I wish all the best for launching of this V3 version of the all the remaining forms. Thanks, Tarparaji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, President, sir. I really thankful for your guidance and connection that is being established and that is already been there between ICSI, their members, and MCA and like authorities. ICSI, yes,
Tarparaji, whatever will be required for the seamless transition of this, version of the forms, ICSI would be always there at the forefront to help our stakeholders.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are aware and we have witnessed in many places. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
So thank you for your briefing and insight. Now it's time for Sidil Sasi sir for giving their introductory remarks and how the government is planning and how the forms is exactly be there and what is the logic and algorithm behind this. So out while putting the data into the system, what member at the user and we take care is to be need from the sir. And sir, before just giving just one, we expect as a company secretary, we are the major stakeholders in terms of user and in terms of compliance for MCA V3 portal. We assume that we have a robust system and there will be a minimum errors, glitches in the programmings. There will be a maximum data will be auto-populated with certain facilities and flexibilities that we can correct it if there is any wrong previous information. That robust system should be there. And with this outset remark, I hand over you, sir. Please carry on. Sir, what is the plan and what you can continue with your plan and what is the MCA is expecting from us, please?
President sir, Vice President sir, and dear friends. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to ICSI for arranging this session. It's a pleasure to be here today and to share some important updates with you all. Today I'm here to inform you that about the changes that will be taking place soon. We'll be launching around 38 forms on the V3 portal, which includes the annual filing forms. The list of the forms and other details my technical team will be deliberating. This is a significant step forward in streamlining and improving our process. This session will provide you with all the insights about this launch. As already mentioned earlier, V2 system will be disabled from 18th June and the new set of forms will be launched on V3 from 14th July. The significant part of this will be the soft launch that will be having on 12th and 13th, wherein the professionals can fill out the forms and review the changes incorporated into the new version. They cannot file the forms. Remember that during this 2 days. It's only to see that the system is working or not, except for the filing. And currently, the UAT is being undertaken. We have members from all the 3 institutes participating in the process. We have some of them doing it as online also. And we encourage everyone to actively participate in this UAT, and if you face any issues or challenges, please report them to the ministry so that we can incorporate the same. Your feedback and cooperation during this transition phase will be invaluable and highly appreciated. Thank you once again for your support. Thank you.
Sir, is there any time to technical presentation would be there from the LTI or?
Yeah, LTI would give a technical presentation on this. Richa.
Yes, sir. So, sir, we will be presenting the list of form along with the enhancements we are going to do in V3 and what is the new way of filing in V3. So, sir, shall we start our presentation?
Yes, ma'am. You can continue, please. Thank you, Sasi, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Vijaya, we can start.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'll be presenting my screen. So, Richa, I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. So in this session, we'll be talking about the list of 38 forms and what are all the different categories of these forms and what are all the key enhancements that we have done in V3 system for each of the form. And is there any change in the processing flow? What all are the additional functionalities or the changes that we have done for the stakeholders' ease and convenience? So let us start the session. So this is the agenda for today's session. So we'll cover what are all the list of 38 forms that are there in the current Go Live, and what are all the key enhancements in the annual filing forms, and what are all we have introduced a concept called linked filing. So we will talk about that linked filing scenarios also. What are all the linked filing scenarios that are applicable for these annual filing forms in a detailed manner that we will discuss. And what are all the key enhancements in the audit and cost audit forms and other forms. So basically these 38 forms are bifurcated into 3-4 categories, which I will show you. And then we will show the important form layouts just for your reference because notification is going to come. So for now, we will show the draft layouts. So just to show you the changes or high-level changes or the new forms layouts, we will be presenting the draft layouts. And also there's a concept called offline functionality. So that also we will talk about the offline functionality at a very high level. And then we will try to show you some filled forms for your quick reference and understanding purposes. So as we said, we are going live with 38 forms, which are bifurcated into 4 different categories. The first set is basically annual filing forms, which are covering around 13 forms. And then cost and cost audit forms. These are around 6 forms, and we have around the remaining we have around 7 forms which are bifurcated into other forms. And there are 12 existing forms which are up and running in V2 system, which are as per 1956 Act. These are basically the annual filing forms and auditor forms, which are applicable if you are trying to file a form prior to Companies Act 2013 launch, that is prior to 2014-15 financial year. So these forms also will be moved as is. So excluding these 12 forms, we have around 26 forms which are as per Companies Act 2013, and remaining 12 forms are as per 1956 Act. So these are all the different categories of the forms, list of forms. So we have other forms, we have MGT 15, GNL1, complaint form, CSR2, and LEAP1, INC22A, and CRL1, and then cost audit and auditor forms covering 4 ADT forms and 2 CRA2 forms. So whatever the forms that are highlighted in a light green color, these are all the forms that got introduced as a new forms in V3 system. So that you won't get, I mean, as of now, these forms are not available in V3 system. For example, ADT4, which is getting filed in the physical mode right now. So we'll be talking about what is this form and what are all the changes and all. So this is one of the new form that we are adding in V3. And same way, so if you see the serial number 15, so next set comes annual filing forms. Currently, if you check total annual filing forms that we have in V2 is around 8 forms. That is AOC4, AOC4 CFS, AOC4 NBFC, and AOC4 NBFC CFS, AOC4 XBRL, MGT7, 7A, and CRA2. We have around 8 forms. But whereas in V3 system, we are going to have 13 forms, which means the 5 forms are going to get added as a added to this set, which will be filed as a linked filings that we will be talking about in detail. So extract of auditor report, as I mentioned, this is also one of the new form that we are going to launch. Again, this extract of audit report is bifurcated into 2 parts. One is a consolidated, which will come into picture whenever you are filing your financial statements with consolidation. So in that case only it is applicable. And same way we have extract of auditor report standalone, which will be filed along with your annual AOC4 form or AOC4 NBFC form. So we'll be talking about the linked form scenarios for each of these new forms added. And there's one more new form that which is going to come is basically extract of board's report, wherein we'll be taking few details which are actually required to be taken as part of the relevant rules and relevant act and rules. Especially 8A and 8 rule of 8A and 8A and 8. So and then accordingly, so we have 2 more forms which we have added, which is called AOC 1 and 2. AOC 1 is talking about the list of subsidiaries and or joint ventures. So if you look at the current form of AOC 4 of V2, we are capturing these details within the AOC 4 form only, but there is a limit. So you cannot file, if you have huge list of subsidiaries, you have to end up providing in the form of attachment, and which is not in a structure, it is not in a structured format. So we are not able to read the data. So right now, so going forward, whatever the subsidiary details or joint venture details that any company has, so those details will be filed as a separate linked filing called AOC1. So same is the case with AOC2, which is dealing with the related party transactions. So even now, so if you look at V2 form, this section is also covered in current form of AOC4 only, but with a very limited data. But now in V3, so all the related party transactions will be captured in a separate form called AOC2, which will be filed as a linked filing. So next set of forms are forms which are already there in V2, that is NBFC, CFS, AOC4 CFS, CSR2, XBRL. So there's no, I mean, these forms would continue as is with some changes in the layouts or the addition of fields that we will be talking about. And then the remaining set of 12 forms are basically the 1956 Act forms. So before going into the form-wise enhancements, we just want to highlight few key form enhancements which are applicable to all the forms, so which we have seen earlier also, so when compared with V2. So first change is basically in V3, all the forms are web-based forms. So rather than PDF forms, wherein in V2 you download the PDF and then you will fill it and then you upload, but here in V3 all the forms are web-based forms. And then linkage of forms base is the purpose and filing of the option selected. So this is again one of the change that we have added, whoever is already using V3 system from past 2 years. So we have added many linked filing forms in V3. So for example, whenever you're filing your alteration in authorized capital, you have to provide EMI as a mandatory linked filing. So wherever possible, we are taking all the information in a digitized format so that we can use this information for data analytics purposes and we can save the data in the system. And also one of the other common enhancement is basically auto pre-filling of common fields across the forms. So this is again whenever we are taking any information which is already there in my system. For example, we are taking MGT4, 14 SRN in any other form. So we are trying to pre-fill the date of the SRN or what is the posting date, what is the approval date. All this information we are trying to pre-fill to the extent possible if the information is already available in the MCA system. And form fields optimization by removal of duplicate and redundant fields. Yeah, each form has undergone a detailed analysis along with the forms committee of MCA. So accordingly, there were many fields got removed, or a few fields might have got added, or few attachments might have converted into a form fields. So all these changes are common across the forms. And then minimization of attachments. So as we mentioned, so we have to the extent possible, because the problem with attachment is attachment information will be stored in the attachment format only, because these attachments are basically in V2 especially, these are unstructured format. So in V3, so you will get to see all these attachments either converted into a structured format, which is basically like Excel format, or we have converted these attachments into a web form fields only, so that you can provide the information within the form. And we've added many new validations. So we will give you a few examples also in these forms. And then attachment size, as we all know that we've increased the attachment size from 6 MB to 10 MB in V3, wherein each attachment size is limited to 2 MB. But there are some exceptions for annual filing forms. We will be talking about those exceptions also. So these are all the common enhancements that are applicable for all the set of forms. So now let us quickly go through the key annual key enhancement or changes that are happened in annual filing forms. So first set of form is basically AOC4 form, which is a key form, which we also call it as non-XBRL form for all the companies for which XBRL is not applicable, or NBFC companies who are not following Ind AS. So they are required to file their form of financial statements in the form of AOC4. So type of processing, it is basically how your form gets processed, whether it is, we have 3 types, right? STP, non-STP and conditional STP. So in terms of processing type, for all these forms, 38 forms, the existing processing type that is there, that would continue. There is no change that has happened in V3 for this processing type changes. Whatever the way that is happening currently in V2, the same would continue. So AOC4 form in V2 also, it is a conditional STP with some certain conditions. So these are all those conditions in which your form would get processed under STP or non-STP. So there is no change here. And then let us see the enhancements that are there in AOC4 form. So as we talked about, the first is form is converted into web-based form. And in AOC4 form, we have also added a concept called offline functionality or offline mode of filing. So it is basically, you have 2 options. Either you can go and file online mode, which is nothing but the way you are filing any other V3 form that is currently available on the system, or you can choose offline mode. Both the options are available to the stakeholders. And then coming back to the changes, so the first change that we have done is the requirement of attaching AOC1 for statement of subsidiaries as per section 129 has been removed, because now this AOC1, as I mentioned, AOC1 is going to get added as a new linked filing, right? So then when we are capturing everything in the form of a digitized format, so there is no need to take this information in the form of attachment, which is in the form of unstructured way. So accordingly, this attachment is removed from AOC4, and instead of this, the AOC1 will come as a linked filing. Then same is the case with AOC2. So there is one attachment for related party transactions. So that attachment also has been removed. In place of that attachment, so we will be asking the companies to provide related party transactions in a linked filing called AOC2. and the requirement of attaching director report has been removed. So there's a separate attachment. So even though your board report is part of your financial statements which you are going to attach, there's a separate attachment called attaching board report in AOC 4. That is also removed because we are going to take the information or extract of board's report as a mandatory linked filing. So these three attachments have been removed, and these three attachments are converted into a linked filings. And then let us come to CSR section. So CSR section is removed because in AOC 4 form, if you see, there's a CSR section. Right now, it is basically from 2021 and 22 onwards, there's a change in the annexures, and we have introduced a form called CSR2. But even now, if you go and file AOC 4 form, you are ending up providing details twice. One is in the AOC 4 form, which is as per old annexure. And after that, if the CSR is applicable to you, you have to go and file CSR2 as an independent filing. So now, what we have done in V3 is this section is completely removed from AOC 4. And if you are filing a form for the financial year for which CSR2 is not applicable, that is prior to 21-22 financial year, you will be providing the CSR details as part of your extract of board's report. Or if you are filing a form on or after financial year 21-22 for which CSR2 is applicable, so you will be filing this in form CSR2. So there is no duplicate or redundancy or redundant. We are not taking this information twice, basically. So either you will provide the detail depending on your financial year ended for which you are filing the form. Either you end up giving the details of CSR in extract of board's report, or you will be filing CSR2, whether it is in the form of independent or linked, that we will be talking about. And then form to be filed with the mandatory linked filing of. So we are talking about, till now we have talked about 4 linked forms, right? So one is AOC 1, AOC 2, and then board's reports and CSR2. So when it comes to extract of board's report and extract of auditor standalone, these 2 forms will always come as a mandatory linked filing. Irrespective of the reason, whether you're for which financial year you're filing the form, for what is the purpose you're choosing, or whether Schedule 3 is applicable or not, whether what is the type of industry that you're selecting in the form, irrespective of the reason, whatever the purpose fields that you're going to select in AOC 4 form, these 2 forms, that is extract of board's report and extract of auditor report standalone, will always come as a mandatory linked filings, which means whenever you are filing any form in AOC 4, if you are filing in V3 system for whatever may be the financial year, AOC 4 will always come with at least extract of board's report and extract of auditor's report standalone. Minimum 3 forms are required to be filed. So the next enhancement is AOC for CFS, which is required to be filed for wherever consolidation is applicable to the company. So right now the current process is what actually happens in V2 is first you go and file your parent form, that is AOC 4 form, you go and file, and you have to get the form approved, and then you have to go and file AOC 4 CFS, and while filing AOC 4 CFS, you have to give the reference of your AOC 4 form, and then you have to file this form. It is basically you have to file these forms twice, one AOC 4 and then you have to go and file CFS. Now going forward in V3, whenever you are filing AOC 4, we will be asking a question whether consolidation is applicable or not. Even now in V2 also this question is there. So whenever you say that consolidation is applicable to you, then we will enable this AOC 4 CFS as a linked filing. So which means whenever you're filing AOC 4 form and you select your consolidation is applicable to you, then along with AOC 4, either extract of board's report, extract of standalone auditor's report, we will also enable AOC 4 CFS form as a linked filing. So it's not required that you need not wait for AOC 4 approval, because many a times we got queries wherein what if this AOC 4 goes for approval and it will take some time, and many a times it will the stakeholders end up paying additional fee because form is not approved in time. So to avoid all these issues, now going forward, AOC 4 CFS also will come as a mandatory conditional mandatory linked filing, depending on the radio button that you're going to select in AOC 4 form for applicability of consolidation. And then CSR2, as we mentioned, this also will get filed as a linked filings, but there are certain exceptions that we will be explaining you in coming slides. So CSR2 also, it has 2 functionalities. Either you have to file independent filing or linked filing. That scenario I will explain you. and various fields related to AOC1 and AOC2 directors report and auditors report have been removed from. So because we are already taking subsidiary details in AOC1, related party transactions in AOC2, we are taking board's report from extract of board report linked filing. We have removed all the relevant fields from your AOC4 form because we are not required to take this information. Also the auditor's report, because we will be supposed, for example, how many number of observations are there, whether your CARO is applicable or not. All these fields are currently part of your AOC4 form, which we have removed because we have already moved these fields to the respective linked filing. So in my example, so all your CARO related items or the auditor's observations, all these details you will get to see only in your extract of auditor's report standalone. And one more other enhancement, very important enhancement which we have made is basically we have enabled AOC4 filing for the companies which are under liquidation or under CARP. So right now in V2, it is only restricted to active companies. We get many queries to enable this filing for under liquidation companies also, because the company is not yet closed or they are still under the process of liquidation or under the process of CARP proceedings. So we have enabled filing of AOC4 form, all AOC4 and MGT7 forms for the companies which are under liquidation or under CAR. So because we have enabled this filing, so we have to enable the DSC section also, because if your company is under liquidation or under CARP, so regular signatories like directors and KMPs cannot sign the form. So you need to have a association called IRP-RP liquidator, for which INC 28 has already been enabled for creating such association under IBC rules. So which means whenever you're filing a form for a company which is under liquidation or under CARP, it is expected that only IRP-RP liquidator will be signing the form. So we will not allow the normal signatories to sign the form. I think this functionality is already up and running in many other forms which are in V3 right now. For example, charge forms, and there are many more forms. So similar functionality we have extended to these annual filing forms also. And addition of field to capture GNL1 SRN. So whenever there is an extension of AGM, so right now also we are asking only the user to provide the extended AGM. We are not taking a reference of GNL1. So because anyway extension can happen only through GNL1, so we are capturing this information within the form only. If tomorrow if you want to know what is the base for this extension, so or whenever this form goes for processing to the back office user or the ROC user, so they can refer this SRN, and if they want to see the order copy or something, they can very well take it from the system only. And then new table got added to capture secretarial auditor qualification and observation. So right now in V2, we are only capturing whether secretarial audit is applicable or not. But here we have added a new table to capture the qualifications of secretarial auditors, qualifications or observations of secretarial auditor. So next change is one of the key change that we want to highlight here is the previous year values in balance sheet and P&L sections would get auto-populated and editable based on previous year filings. So this will be one of the, I think, major change, and I think which stakeholders I would be happier to see this change, because right now, if you are filing a form for 23-24 or any form financial year for that matter, balance sheet and P&L has different sections as per Schedule 3, right? So wherein you are required to provide your current year data and also the previous year data. So right now, previous year data also, it is basically a manual input without any validation, and what user is entering, we don't know. So basically, we only check the totals are matching or not, but we are not actually checking what has been reported in the previous year. So now going forward in V3, if you've already done your previous year filing and which is under approved status, we will pick that. Suppose if you are filing a form for 23-24 now or 24-25, for example, so we will go and check. First of all, whether 23-24 filing is completed by the company, whether that SRN service request number is under approved status for the same immediately preceding the financial year. Then we will take that SRN and we will go to the system and we'll pick all your data of balance sheet and P&L and schedules, and we will pre-populate it in the existing form that you're going to file for 24-25 financial year. However, all you may get a doubt, what if there is some reinstatement happened, or what if there was some error or you want to correct it. We are not restricting the field not to be editable. So we will be pre-filling it, whatever is available in the system. But if you want to edit it, you can edit it as per your whatever is the signed financial statements that you have for the previous years. So to put it in a simple words, all the previous year numbers will get pre-populated if you've already run your filing for the immediate preceding financial year and your status of the SRN is under approved status, and all these fields are editable. So because we are pre-filling something and we are allowing the user to edit something, so we want to know the reason why they are editing. So accordingly, so in all these balance sheet and P&L schedules, apart from current year list of line items and the current year data and previous year data, you will get to see a new column called reason for change. So this field will be enabled whenever you're trying to edit something in the, suppose we have pre-filled your previous year numbers and you want to edit something in that number, we will be enabling this field called reason for change, wherein you can provide the reason why you are changing this field. And then system checks the financial year start date and end date should fall between period from and period to. It is one of the important point. So whenever you're filing AOC4 form, you have to give a reference of ADT1 through which your auditor who is signing the form, or a form auditor who is associated with the form who got appointed through ADT1. So right now we only check whether whatever the SRN that you entered in AOC4 form is associated with that company or not, irrespective of the reason whether it is filed for which financial year. So which means, suppose if you are filing for 24-25 and you try to give a reference of ADT1 which is filed for 23-24, it will not throw any error as of now in V2 system. Which is basically incorrect, right? It is basically incorrect reference of ADT1. So whenever you are giving a reference of ADT1, it is expected that that auditor's appointment should fall between the period whatever for which you are trying to file the form. So accordingly, there will be a new validation. So this is stakeholders are requested to make sure that whenever you're going to enter any ADT1 SRN, that is because ADT1 can be filed for multiple financial years. Whatever the start date and end date that you are entering in AOC4 form, that is the financial year start date and end date, those appointment dates, the period for which the auditor is appointed should fall between these dates. Otherwise, system will not allow you to proceed further. Which means if you try to file 24-25 ka financial year ka form and you try to give ADT1 which got filed for 23-24, it will not allow you to proceed. So this is also a very important enhancement that we have made. This is to ensure that we get the proper audited details in V3 system. So as we've mentioned, we have added a functionality called offline functionality, in which what is the meaning of offline functionality, wherein user will provide only the basic information in the form of web, and then we will be enabling a functionality called Excel download, wherein users can download all these forms will get downloaded in the form of Excel, wherein you can just provide the values in the Excel and you have to upload the Excel. After that, we will be converting this entire data of basic details which were provided in web form and also the Excel data into a normal PDF, and after that the flow continues, but we will tell you what is the how it is useful to the stakeholders and what are all the fields that are available in web screen before downloading this Excel. We will be demonstrating this. And then other enhancements, it is a common enhancements as we discussed in the first slide, the normal enhancements. And we have added few business rules also, new business rules. One of the business rule you can say this is field number 16. Like this, we have added new validation rules. Basically, business rules are server-side validation. So whenever you upload a form, we will do some set of validations with our system. So those validations are called business rule validations or server-side validations. So these are all the changes for AOC4 form. These changes are so next, quickly, we'll go to AOC for CFS. So mostly the points are common. So I will just highlight only the changes that are additional changes that are applicable to this form. So first point is same, and AOC for CFS. Now, as I mentioned, now in V3 we said AOC for CFS, you have to file it. You have to file it as a linked filing, right? What about the previous year filings of V2? Suppose you have done a form in you've done AOC4 form in V2 system, but you are yet to file AOC for CFS. So now how do you file this form in V3 once we move these forms to V3? So which means there is a need to enable this AOC for CFS also as an independent filing, apart from linked filing, because to handle all these past cases. I mean, what if the form is filed in V2, now you are yet to file AOC for CFS. If we make it as linked filing in V3, so there will be a blocker, right? Because your parent form is already filed and approved. Only the consolidation part is pending. So for that, AOC for CFS form can be filed independently. For which all forms or for which all SRNs, it is only for V2 SRNs. If your parent form of AOC4 is filed in V2, only in those cases you will be required to file AOC for CFS as a linked filing, independent filing. And whenever AOC for CFS you are filing as an independent filing, so AOC for CFS will have a linked filing called extract of auditor's report consolidation. So whenever consolidation form you are filing independently, you have to now file with extract of auditor's report consolidated. So this is also one of the difference. In V2, you will come on only file AOC for CFS, right? But in V3, you can continue the same process if you already have V2 SRN for which CFS is pending. But you have to file extract of auditor report consolidated as a linked filing to this. And share capital, few changes, other changes in the form. We have removed the share capital raised during the reporting period section. And then auditors segment got removed because we have all these points we have already discussed in the previous slides for AOC4. We have removed all the relevant sections from the form wherever we have added a linked filing. Point number 6 also same, secretarial auditor qualification and observation section we have added. And point number 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all these points are common points. Whatever the points that we have seen in AOC4, these are all the same points that are there in AOC for CFS also. So I'm not discussing these points again, because all these points are common, like enabling this form for under CARP, under liquidation, previous year values pre-filling, new column for reason for change. All these points are common points. And now let us quickly go to the NBFC form, AOC for NBFC, which is applicable for the companies which are following Ind AS and NBFC. NBFC is applicable to them. So here also these changes, whatever the changes that we have seen, AOC4, all the changes are equally applicable to this form. Only the form ID will get changed to AOC for NBFC instead of AOC4. Otherwise, the entire logic of enabling the linked filing or the changes that we have done in AOC4 form, everything is same in AOC for NBFC also. These are all the same points that got repeated here. Everything including CSR2, everything is same here. So I will skip this AOC for NBFC slides because these points are same. Now same way NBFC CFS also. So whatever the points that we've discussed in AOC for CFS, the same points are applicable here also. Which means, suppose if you have already done your AOC for NBFC filing in V2, for which you are yet to file your consolidation form, which is AOC for NBFC CFS, only in those cases you will be allowed to file this form as an independent filing. Otherwise, for all the prospective filings, system will ask you to file this form as a linked filing to your AOC for NBFC. Otherwise, all these changes are the common changes that we discussed in the previous slides. So now AOC1. So AOC1 is, as I mentioned, it is required to be filed for providing your details of subsidiaries and or joint ventures or associate companies. So enhancements is basically, it is a new form that we have added. And type of processing, please note that whenever any form is getting filed as a linked filing, there will not be any separate processing type. Whatever the processing type that is applicable for the parent form, the same processing type is applicable to all the linked filings. For example, if your AOC4 is getting filed under STP mode, then all your linked forms also will get processed under STP. So if it goes to non-STP, then all the linked filings also goes for non-STP. There is no separate processing type for this. And now what are all the conditions to file this AOC1? So this form can only be filed as a linked filing with AOC4 or AOC4 NBFC if S is selected in field whether the company has a subsidiary company as defined under clause 87 of section 2 or has an associate. So basically in AOC4 form, there is one section called section 8, wherein we will be asking the user whether the company which is actually trying to file the form has any subsidiary or joint ventures. or associate company, we will be taking that S-no radio button related point is there in section 8. We'll be taking that information in your parent form, which is AOC 4 or AOC for NBFC. And if you say S there, then only this AOC 1 will come into picture and it will be filed as a linked filing. What is the applicability of AOC 1? So which means whenever the company says that company has a subsidiary or company has a joint venture or company has an associate company, and you have to provide this information in the parent form, which is AOC 4 or AOC for NBFC, only then we will be enabling this AOC 4 form as a linked filing. Once this is enabled as a linked filing, then you have to file this form. And this form can be filed through online or offline mode. This is again common functionality. So if you can file your parent form in offline mode, so obviously you can file all the remaining linked filings also in offline mode. So other 2 points are common points. AOC 2, this is for related party disclosure. This is again same point, type of processing. There is no separate processing type for this. And this is again a new form that we have added in V3. What is the applicability of this form? This form can only be filed as a linked filing with AOC 4 or AOC for NBFC if S is selected in data field, whether any transactions entered with related party in the parent form. So again, here also there is one question in AOC 4 form, whether any transactions entered with related party. S, no. Only if you say yes, then only we will be enabling this AOC 2 filing as a linked filing. So once it gets enabled, it is mandatory for the company to file the form. So other 3 points are common points. Yes, this form also will, you have the option to choose online or offline. However, if this online offline option is available basis your parent form. So if your parent form you're filing in online mode, you have to file all linked filings also in online. Or if you're filing offline mode, you have to file all the linked filings also in offline mode. However, you cannot file parent in online and child's in offline or vice versa. That is not possible. Next form is extract of auditor's report standalone. So this is again a new form that we have mentioned in the previous slides. This form can only be filed as a linked filing with AOC 4 or AOC for NBFC. However, there is no condition here. If you see, previous 2 forms has some condition because the user has to give some input in the form basis that we will be enabling that linked filing. But for extract of auditor's report, there is no condition. It is mandatory for all the companies. Whenever you're filing AOC 4 or AOC for NBFC, this will come for all the companies. So next point is extract of auditor's report consolidation. This is again a new form. For this, the condition is this form can only be filed as a linked filing with AOC 4, AOC for NBFC. If S is selected in field, whether consolidation financial statements are applicable in parent form. Or alternatively, if you are filing AOC for CFS, then also it will come as a linked filing. Because if you're filing CFS, so the thumb rule is basically the extract of auditor's report consolidation will come into picture whenever you are filing for consolidation. Whether you're filing it independently or with your parent form, then this linked filing will get enabled. So the last linked filing is basically extract of board's report, which is again a new form. This form can only be filed as a linked filing, the same logic. So whatever the condition that we have for extract of auditor standalone, the same logic applies here also, which means this extract of board report linked filing is mandatory for all the companies, irrespective of the year, irrespective of the purpose, irrespective of any other details that you're going to provide in parent form. This will always come as a linked filing. So CSR2. So CSR2 has 2 logics. You can file this form as a linked filing. And also there are some conditions to file this form as independent filings. The processing type for these 2 scenarios is basically whenever linked filing is there, as I mentioned earlier, so it will be dependent on your parent form. If parent form is getting processed under STP, this form also goes under STP, else non-STP. So if the parent form is non-STP and child form also will get processed under non-STP. If it is getting filed independent as independent filing, so it will get processed under STP. So now in V2, if you see, CSR2 form is basically getting filed as an independent filing, so which gets processed under STP mode. So enhancements. First point is common point. The second point, independent filing of CSR2. In which all scenarios we are enabling independent filing and what is the logic behind it? So independent filing of CSR2 is allowed only for the financial year 2021, 21-22, 22-23. So all these years, and 24-25. As you see, I think 2 weeks back we have got one notification which is applicable for accounts amendment rules, right? If you've seen it, wherein independent filing is extended till 30th June. So to cater that scenario, so what we have done is for 24-25 financial year also. So if you have done your 24-25 financial year in V2 system, so you can come and file your independent CSR2 in V3 system, because if you don't enable this, then there will be a blocker for the companies which have already completed their filing for the financial year 24-25 in V2 for which CSR is applicable. So that is why this is one of the new changes that we have made in the system, which means independent filing of CSR2 is enabled for 24-25 also, but only the condition is this is enabled only to only for the V2 parent forms. If your parent form is done in V2, only then you will be able to file the CSR2 as an independent filing. From financial year 24-25 onwards, this form has to be filed as a linked filing, and this linked filing is applicable for all the three forms: AOC4, AOC4, NBFC, and XBRL also. So even now in V2, we are, all XBRL companies also are required to file CSR2. So the same is continued in V3 also, which means CSR2 can come as a linked filing in these three forms: AOC4, AOC4 NBFC, and AOC4 XBRL. And again, here also we have online and offline mode. However, this offline mode is provided only to handle the linked filings. Independent, if you have any independent filing, you have to do online filing only, because these filings would be very less, only because you must have already complied with CSR2 already. But if you have any filings that are required to be done, so you can do it through online mode. Offline functionality is not available for CSR2. And very important point, I think it is one of the most requested ask also from different stakeholders, especially the CSR2 form, because CSR2 form is a very lengthy form which has so many tables, because we have to take your projects and ongoing, other than ongoing, there are so many sections, so many tables, and you may have multiple number of projects which are scattered across different states or different districts. So there's huge data that is getting captured in the form. Now in V2, even though this form is a web-based form, suppose if you have, suppose 50 ongoing projects, you have to manually enter one by one project in the web screen only. There is no functionality called Excel, wherein you can just download the Excel in a predefined format and fill in the details and upload. That functionality is not available. In fact, we've got this requirement earlier also from the stakeholders, but in V2 we were not able to do it. But in V3, even if you're filing an online CSR2 form, in all the sections, wherever you see a table, the important table, for example, 7B1 of CSR2, which is talking about ongoing projects, amount spent on ongoing projects, or 7B2, which is basically amount spent on other than ongoing projects. We have different sections in section 10, wherein we will be taking, unspent amount spent during the year. There are so many scenarios wherein we are capturing these project details in the form of different tables. All such tables against, so you just have to provide how many number of projects that you have, and we will enable one Excel functionality in a predefined macro enabled Excel, wherein you will have to provide the details, which is basically you can copy paste, or you can Excel, when compared with the filling the form one by one project in the web screen, so Excel will save a lot of your time. So we have added these Excel functionalities in the online mode also. Offline is going to take care through Excel. Even in online form, wherever you see these tables, which are complex in nature, where you have some 7-8 columns in each of the table, all these details you can now, going forward in V3, can provide in the form of Excel. This is one of the major enhancement in CSR2. Excel, addition of Excel functionality in online forms. So now let us go to AOC for XBRL. XBRL would continue as per the normal, as per the existing process, whatever the taxonomies that you are currently using. The same would continue for the financial year 24-25 also. And only you get to see one addition of a new field called whether CSR is applicable or not, because as I mentioned in the previous slide, we have to take CSR2 also as a linked filing for XBRL form, right? So for that, we have to ask the user whether CSR is applicable to them or not. So accordingly, we have added this field in the AOC for XBRL layout. So if you say yes, or whatever the relevant drop down that is applicable to you, if you select accordingly, system will enable the CSR2 for XBRL form also. Other points are common points. One more important point is basically in AOC for XBRL, right now your financial statements are getting captured only in the XML format. So there is no placeholder in the layout to provide your signed financial statements. The process is basically signed financial statements you will be providing to your software vendor. He'll be converting, or he or she will be converting your your signed financial statements into Excel format, and you're taking that XML and validating that XML, and only you're attaching that XML document. But what is there in the signed financial statements, that is not getting captured anywhere in the XBRL form. So now in V3, apart from XML document attachment, suppose if you have standard, so there may be two attachments that you can have. One is for standalone. If the consolidation is applicable, then you have to attach the second XML called consolidated XML. Apart from these two, you will get to see two new attachments for taking signed financial statements. So one for standalone, other for consolidation if applicable. So these two attachments are added in V3 system, which means even your company is XBRL company, so it is mandatory for you to attach your financial statements within the form, in the form of attachment, apart from XML document. So this is one of the major change in AOC for XBRL form. Otherwise, the existing taxonomies, everything would continue as is for this financial year. So next, MGT7 form. So as far as structure is concerned, we don't have too many changes in the form, but yes, there are few changes. One is the introduction of online offline. So this offline mode functionality, the filing functionality is enhanced, extended to MGT7 and 7A also. It is not just for AOC4 forms. So in terms of MGT7, there is no concept of linked filing. So there are no linked filings applicable. It is as is whatever the way you are filing in V2 system. However, we have added Excel functionality. So it is also one of the enhancement. Even this MGT7 is also a very big form which has so many tables. For example, board meetings, committee meetings, there are so many Excels that so many tables which are there in the form. So wherever you see a table, which is repetitive in nature. So all that information now you can provide in the form of Excel. So you have to give the number in the form, and then Excel will get downloaded in a pre-formatted form. You have to fill in those details and you have to upload that Excel. So as part of your PDF generation, we will convert this Excel into a PDF format, whatever is the notified layout, right? So in that format, we will populate the data and will display it to you in the PDF. So one of the biggest enhancement in MGT7 is list of shareholders and debenture holders will now be attached in the form of predefined Excel. So let me talk about the current functionality. So there is one mandatory attachment called list of shareholders and debenture holders in MGT7, which is applicable for other than OPCs and small companies, right? So the functionality in V2 is, suppose if any listed company or large public company is trying to file a form. So there is one question, the radio button point, or there's a question which will be asking whether shareholder company is going to attach the shareholder details and debenture holder details within the form only, or they want to attach by using a different service called upload investor details service that is available on MCA portal. So we'll be asking that question. If you say that because of the volume of the data, you won't be able to attach this Excel within MGT7 form because we have the limit of 6 MB overall size in V2, right? So all the larger companies will choose that option as that, yes, we want to upload this details in a separate service. So what actually happens now in V2 is the moment you select that you want to file it as a separate service. So even though this form is pure STP form, there is no conditions involved, it is straight STP form. Still, your form will not get approved because system will wait for you to upload your investor details by using that service. So until and unless you go and upload those investor details by using that service, your SRN will never get approved and that company will not be considered as a compliant company for that financial year. So now going forward, these two steps are actually reduced. So now going forward, whatever the list, whatever may be the size of your company, you are expected to provide your list of shareholders and debentures while filing the form only. How you have to provide the details, that we will be explaining you. Accordingly, the upload investor details FO services deprecated, or which will be deprecated once we go live with V3 system. So we have posted a message also on the portal. So whoever is having any of these SRNs of whether it is 20B or MCA-21 which are pending for investor details, you are expected to upload the investor details in V2 system only, because once we move to V3, there is no facility available for you to upload these details by using that service. And added new fields for declaration under Rule 9.4. So there is one amendment which we got in the previous year, wherein you have to designate a person as a you have to identify a person called designated person under Rule 9.4 of Company Management and Administration Rules. We have added that table to capture that person who is going to act as a designated person under this rule. So this is also one of the enhancement or the change that we have done. So we have added few more fields like name of the company, because this MCA-21, all these forms are filed for the financial year end date, or as at a financial year end date. So if you want to know what is the address as at that year end date, because whatever the details that we are going to pre-fill basis on your SIN, it will be as on date. So for example, address, your class, category, everything will be as on date. So even though we are taking this information in a V2, but in V3 you get to see in a different manner. So basically we have added a new table. What is the what is there as at the end of the financial year, or what is there as on date. So you can provide those details. It is basically kind of a structure or the look and feel of the layout. So this is one of the change. A new table added to capture gender-wise number of shareholder details. So after there is a section called shareholding pattern for promoters other than promoters in MCA-21. So after that section, so we have to stakeholders are requested to provide they are required to provide their details in gender-wise format. If the shareholder is body corporate or other than individual, they can select any and they can provide the details, but you have to provide the number of shareholder details. A new attachment got added, photograph of the registered office of the company showing external binding and name prominently visible. This new attachment got added in V3 system, which is not available in V2. So whoever is filed INC-22A, so we have the similar attachment there. So now that attachment got extended to MCA-7 and 7A now. So MCA-8 attachment got removed and required fields got added within the form only. This is also one of the enhancement we were talking about earlier. So MCA-7 8 attachment we have removed, and we have converted whatever the details that are required to take, including the DSC of the company secretary. So within the form only. So which means for MCA-8, you will get to see one more addition of DSC section, which is specifically applicable for MCA-7 compliances. So the remaining 4 fields are common fields. So let me go to MCA-7A. So these changes are common changes only. So here everything, even list of shareholders also you will be attaching within the form only in the form of Excel. So other changes are the common changes that we've discussed in the previous slides, but few points are not applicable like MCA-8 and this one second, sorry, yeah. Mostly other details are the common details, like under companies which are under liquidation also can file these 2 forms, MCA-7 and 7A. Attachment is also common attachment that we have seen. Gender details also are there. So these are common changes across MCA-7 and 7A. So let us talk about the attachment size limit. So as we have mentioned that MCA now we have removed this upload investor details section, the service only from V2 system in V3. How am I going to upload my details if my size is beyond 10 MB, file size is beyond 10 MB, or we have restricted attachment size as 2 MB for each attachment in V2. What if my financial statements are running into more than 2 MB? What am I supposed to do in these cases? So we have handled all these scenarios. The first scenario is list of shareholders and debentures holders Excel attachment. So this attachment size is increased to 300 MB in MCA-7. Please note, this is only applicable for MCA-7 because MCA-7A is filed for only for small and OPC companies. So we will not be having this size issue there. So this list of shareholder, debenture holder, Excel attachment is increased to 300 MB in MGT7. So which is further bifurcated into 15 files of 20 MB. So, however, this is which means in MGT7, you can upload investor details up to 300 MB if you are a large company, because if we have to delete that existing service of V2, we have to handle that scenario within the form only. So accordingly, we have to increase the file size in MGT7 in V3. So generated PDF will not have, however, so we will be taking this information as part of your web form filing or offline form filing, but we will not show this PDF in the generated PDF, show this Excel in the generated PDF, because if we display this 300 MB file, you will not be able to upload the PDF only. So whenever we are generating the PDF after web form submission and after attaching this Excel, whatever may be the size, we will not be displaying this attachment in the generated PDF, so that you can go and upload your form without any issues. This is one of the biggest change in MGT7 form. And then 2 MB limit of each attachment is removed in the following forms. So as we've mentioned, so few attachments especially in AOC 4 forms, for example, financial statements. So we cannot put a restriction of 2 MB, right? Because few companies may have financial statements may run into more than 2 MB also. So to handle all such scenarios, we have removed this 2 MB limit check in all the below forms, which means you can upload if your attachment size is 3 MB, 4 MB, 5 MB, you can attach. But you have to make sure that overall file size limit, including all attachments, should not go beyond 10 MB. It is similar to whatever we have in V2, right? It is 6 MB overall. We are not checking what is your attachment size, what is your total form size. Only the total form is what is getting checked. Same way, but only the difference from V2 to V3 is instead of 6 MB, now you get 10 MB. So this individual attachment size is removed in AOC 4, AOC 4 XBRL, NBFC CFS, and NBFC CFS. Whereas all other attachments, including MGT7A, all this work as per the normal process. That is, each attachment is restricted to 2 MB, and overall form size, including all attachments, is 10 MB. So there is no change in any other forms. So only the exceptions are these 2 points. One is MGT7, 300 MB, and all these forms, there is no limit on there is no attachment size limit. Only the overall limit is there, that is 10 MB. So let us quickly see the linked form scenarios. So these are all the points that we have already covered in the previous slides. For just to highlight once again, or just to reiterate once again, whatever the points that we've discussed, because this is very critical point to highlight, because suddenly you get to see all these forms in V3 system. So users should not get confused. So we'll talk about each of the form once again, just for a few minutes. And we also mentioned whether this form is available in V2 or not. So AOC1, this is condition for applicability. So as we've discussed in the previous slides, this AOC1 will come into picture only if you say S against field number 8D or 8C, if I'm not wrong, wherein if you say that you have a subsidiary company, or you have a joint venture, or you have an associate company, if you say S, then only this form will get enabled as a linked filing. Whether this form is available in V2, it is not available. AOC2 is again, if you say related party transactions are applicable to you, then only this will come into picture. AOC for CFS, yes, if you say consolidation is applicable to you, then only this will come as a linked filing. If you see availability in V2, it is available, but only it is available in the form of independent filing. CSR2, so applicable in case section 135 or report of unspent CSR is selected in, there's one field called CSR applicability. So if you select, in that there are 3 drop-down. One is section 135 and second drop-down is report of unspent CSR amount. The third drop-down is not applicable. If you select the first drop-down or second drop-down value, and you are filing the form for the financial year 24 and 25 onwards in V3, then it will come as a linked filing. Else, it will come as an independent filing that we've discussed in the previous slides. Availability in V2 is it is available, but only available in the form of independent filing only. Extract of auditor's report standalone, it is applicable for all the cases. It is not available in V2. Consolidation, extract of auditor's report consolidated, it is applicable only if you say S, that consolidation is applicable while filing your parent form. This is also not available in V2. Extract of board's report. It is applicable for all the cases. The scenarios that we have seen in this table are for AOC4 or AOC4 NBFC. So whatever the logic that is available for AOC4, same is applicable for AOC4 NBFC also. Hence, we have added this linked filing scenarios for AOC4 oblique AOC4 NBFC. Now let us see few other scenarios that we have. This is for AOC for XBRL, AOC for CFS, and AOC for NBFC CFS. The first table is for parent form. If your parent form is AOC for XBRL, only you can get a linked filing of CSR2. That too, if you are filing for financial year 24-25 onwards in V3 system, only then you can get CSR2. For XBRL, you will not get any other form as a linked filing because we are already capturing all other details, whether it is holding subsidiary company or joint ventures or associate companies, related parties, board report, audit report, everything is part of your XML document. So there's no need to file these details again. So only CSR2 will get filed as a linked filing in AOC4 XBRL subject to this financial year condition. And suppose if your AOC for CFS is getting filed independently, then as we discussed earlier, so only the consolidation of this extract of auditors would come into picture. Same way, if it is AOC for NBFC CFS is filing, then also you will get extract of auditors report consolidated as a linked filing. So with this, we have covered the major enhancements of annual filing forms. So let me quickly take you through the remaining forms. So we may not take much time for these forms, but we will just highlight the major changes. Next set is auditor set, wherein we have 6 forms. One is ADT1, 2, 3, 4, and CRA2 and CRA4. So first form is ADT1, notice to the registrar by company for appointment of auditor. So the processing type, there is no change. It gets processed under STP mode only. Enhancements, please note that this offline functionality that we have talked about only for annual filing forms, not for auditors. So hence it is only a web-based online form. So changes in terms of enhancements, we have added some new purpose or nature of appointment in the drop-down value. There is a field called nature of appointment in ADT1. So which will come as a drop-down. So we have added new drop-down values like auditors appointed by the central government or appointment or reappointment by CNIG. So these two nature of appointments got added. One of the big change that you see in ADT1 is right now in V2 form, if auditor's firm is getting appointed, we have only one block to provide details of either auditor's firm or membership number. So now in V3, we have bifurcated this. Whenever auditor firm is getting appointed, you will have to give the details separately. You have to provide the details of auditor's firm, and you also have to provide membership number of the auditor who is signing the form, who is going to sign the financial statements. So, which means you get to see new sections in ADT1 form, wherein in V2 it is only everything is combined. So irrespective of the reason, whether it is your appointing firm or individual, you have to provide. And moreover, whenever, especially if you are filing for auditor's form, you have option to provide either membership number or firm registration number. Mostly, you will end up giving auditor's firm registration number. So because that is very important. So now in V3, so if whenever auditor firm is getting appointed, you have a separate section for auditor's firm, and also you have a separate section for membership number of the auditor and his address details, his PAN number, everything. So it is similar to the auditor firm section. We have a complete section for membership number of the auditor who is signing the financial statements. So we are capturing his address, his PAN number, email ID, everything. So now you may get it out how this data now, how am I going to file this form with the V2 data? So we have taken care of the V2 data. So we will be migrating the data depending on your category of the auditor accordingly. So you'll be able to, you will not face any issue in while doing a pre-fill in AOC4 forms. And the new field added to capture SRN of INC-28, the notice of order of the tribunal. So as of now, so right now, whenever any auditor gets appointed based through tribunal, so obviously it is mandatory for such companies to go and file INC-28 for giving the notice of such order. So hence we have added this field of capturing INC-28 SRN also. so that the user need not, back office user or the person, in future, if you want to know what is the base for this order, so we should be able to extract this information from the form itself. Then again, we have added one field called audit recommendations of audit committee. So this is again one of the new field that we have added in ADT1. So this field number 6 and 7 is same like other annual filing forms, wherein this form can be filed by companies which are under liquidation or under CIRP. And then we have added new business rule or server side validations for number of directorship checks and all. And we have deleted few attachments. For example, this order of tribunal we have deleted because we are capturing 28 SRN only, INC 28. So anytime we can go and check the order copy of this INC 28 SRN. So there is no need to capture that as attachment separately in ADT1. So accordingly, such changes, such attachments were removed, wherein whatever the data that is converted into digitized format, or we are capturing the SRN, basis the SRN, we can go and check in the system. All such attachments got removed across the forms. ADT2, not too many changes. Only the major change is this bifurcation of firm registration, firm auditor's form, and membership member who is signing the form into separate sections. This is only the major change that you get to see in ADT2. Otherwise, it will continue as per the normal process. As per the existing V2 functionality. So just to highlight, if application for removal is happening based on some V2 SRN, then how we are going to handle this, because in V2 everything is clubbed. So we have enabled the system basis the category. If the category is individual, we'll be pre-filling the details. If categories other than individual, so we will be asking the user to provide the details of the firm registration number and all. So this will be taken care for V2 SRNs. Because if you are filing these forms in V3, there will not be any issue, but you may see some confusion or some issues in, especially by using or by referring V2 SRNs, all the scenarios have been taken care. So ADT3 also, it is the same similar change only. So major changes to bifurcation of auditor's form and auditor who is signing the form as a separate sections. There is no other change here. ADT4, this is a new form that we have added. This is basically relating to intimation to the central government by the auditors in terms of Companies Act 2013 and the relevant rules. So basically, there are some threshold limits provided, right? If there is a suspectable fraud or something, so wherein it is the responsibility of the auditor to intimate such information to the central government if that amount exceeds some certain threshold limits. So in those cases, currently this form is getting filed in the physical mode. So we have digitized this form. So now going forward, this form has to be filed in online mode only, ADT4. This is a new form that we have added in V3. CRA2, this is for intimation of appointment of cost auditor by the company to the central government. So changes, not too many changes here. We have added few new nature of appointments, the way we have seen in ADT1. So here we have added few new options like filing due to addition of new product or service. And we have bifurcated right now in V2, there's one nature of appointment called sin of demerged or amalgamated entity. So that we bifurcated into two different purposes. So now demerger, we have a separate section, and amalgamated section will amalgamatedly we have separate section in V3. And other changes are common changes in this form. So I'll quickly go to the form. CRA4 form, it is again XBRL form for reporting of cost audit report. There is no change here. Only we have added few fields in this form to take the GNL1 SRN. Right now, this information of GNL1 SRN is missing. So wherever there is any extension, so we are taking this GNL1 SRN in CRA4 form. And there are some rule changes also. If AGM is extended, to that extent, we have to extend the period for calculating the fee. All those changes have been taken care in V3 system, which are not there in V2 right now. Okay, so with this, we have completed the auditor's forms. Now we'll quickly see what are all the remaining forms. We will not talk about the Companies Act 1956 forms because those forms would work as is. Everything would continue as is only. There will not be any new notification also, because the act itself is not in force. So there is no change in the format of PDF and all. So only whenever you're filling the form, you may see a look and feel wise web form, you can see a different, maybe your form is bifurcated in different sections or labels and all, you can see. But when you convert your web form into PDF for all these 1956 forms, there is no change in the PDF format, which is notified as per Companies Act 1956. So CRL1 form, which is hardly filed form, which is applicable for providing your layers of subsidiaries at the commencement of Companies Act, right? So this form is still up and running in V2. So we have carried this form to V2 also, though V3 also, though this form is not getting filed frequently. However, because since it is notified as per Companies Act 2013, we have to move this form to V3. So the major changes in CRL1, we have one service called update subsidy details. So you have to first file. It is similar to MGT7 shareholder details that we discussed, right? If you have number of subsidiaries, whatever the number of subsidiaries that you have to provide this number, and then you have to submit this form. And after that, you have to access the relevant FO service, the service that is available on MCA portal, and you have to upload your subsidiary details by using that service. Only then this form gets approved. So now, instead of this service, first of all, this form is hardly filed form, and there is no need to continue with the service. Instead, what we have done is we have made the changes in the layout only to capture all the subsidiary details within the form only. If you, whatever the number of layers that you have, layers of subsidiaries, all such information you have to provide within the form only. So accordingly, your form will get approved immediately. It will not wait for your to upload your subsidiary details. Again, this requires all the existing stakeholders to check if you have any CRL1 which is currently showing under pending for update of subsidiary details. You have to make sure to upload these details on or before 17th June. So else you will not be able to upload these details, and your SRN may get marked as cancelled. MGT15, filing of a report on AGM. So here also changes are very minimal, but I'll just explain you the major changes. We have added a new field called financial year to which AGM relates to. So this is not there in the current form. So we've added this field. And form to be signed by company secretary of the company also now, because this is for listed companies, or only the major applicability is limited to certain set of companies. So the company secretary is required to sign this form mandatorily. And IRPRP is the same point. I think only these are all the changes that we have done. And in terms of other fields, you may get to see the address is bifurcated into different line items. Currently, it is getting captured in a single field called address, which is a plain text box. But in V3, you get to see a line 1, line 2, followed by city, area, locality, district, state, PIN code, everything. GNL1, the form for filing of application with the Registrar of Companies. So here, a few changes are there. Mostly, why we have not moved this form is basically we have one purpose called extension of AGM, right? So since it is linked to your annual filing forms, we thought to move this form along with the annual filing forms. So in terms of the layout changes or enhancements, so there are multiple purposes in this form. So one of the purposes is compounding of offense. We have added period of default and other relevant fields also in the form, which are currently missing in V2 form. And new field DIN number and PAN number also got added. Currently, these two fields are missing. We are only taking the name. With name, we will not be able to make out anything, right? So accordingly, we have added DIN number and PAN number also in the other applicant detail section. And new fields due date of holding of AGM and date till which extension sought for extension of AGM. So very important field. Right now, if you are filing GNL1 in V2 for extension of AGM, you just have to give your financial year end date. So you're not providing what is your due date of holding AGM. You're not asking for whether you want extension for 1 month or 2 months or 15 days. That information also, it is not actually getting captured, and this information is getting provided only as part of your approval. So you don't know what extension that you're going to get, right? So instead of that, so you will be asking the date of extension also subject to the conditions, whatever are defined under Companies Act read with rules. So subject to those conditions, you can provide your date till which you want the extension. This is one of the important change in GNL1. CSR1, it is for registration of entities for undertaking CSR activities. So not too many changes, only the look and feel of the form, few address fields. One common change is wherever you see address section, there's a new field called area locality, which got added across the forms, whether it is the forms which are currently running in V3 or the forms which you are going to see as part of this lot 3 go live. So area locality is one field that we have added in across the forms wherever address is getting captured. Here for CSR1, wherever Section 8 company is there as a type of existing entity for which the form is getting filed for registration of CSR1, we have included Part 1 Section 8 also, which is basically if existing entity gets converted into a Section 8 company. So as part of your incorporation process by filing URC1 as a linked filing, so then your company get incorporated as a Part 1 Section 8 company. So that company also now can go and file CSR1. INC-22A form, which is again hardly a file form or the form which is required to be filed only for certain set of companies, that is the companies which got incorporated on or before 31st December 2017. If you have not complied your INC-22A compliance, only then this form gets filed. Changes are very minimal, normal changes. I mean, this form is converted into web form, and other minimum changes like address fields I've told you. You get to see an emblem in the layout. If the form is STP, you get to see a STP note, which is not there in V2. These type of changes. So you may wonder like why if there is no change, why there's a enhancement. Basically, all these forms will get re-notified because of this look and feel of the form. Some or other change happened in the layout. So that is why you get to see a notification for these forms as well, even though changes are minimum in nature. So complaint form. So in V2, we have two forms called ICP form and SCP form, that is investor complaint form and serious complaint form. This form is bifurcated into basically two sections. One is for subsidiaries, that is section 1 subsidiaries, and then part B is for associate and joint ventures. So again, within subsidiary section, you have to provide how many number of subsidiaries that you have. Basis this number, this entire block has to be filled in. And please note that wherever, even in the linked filings, wherever you get to see these complicated tables, where the columns in the table are running into maybe more than 5 or 6. Suppose if you see here, we have more than 10 fields, 10 or 15 fields here. And if you have, suppose 30 subsidiaries, then you have to fill in this detail manually one by one, will take a lot of time, right? So here also we have added this functionality called Excel. Even though you're filing online form, but the moment you enter this number of subsidiaries, so you will get this entire format in the form of Excel, so that it is easier for the stakeholders to fill in the details in the Excel and upload the Excel. And as part of the web form, in conversion of web form into PDF, we will convert those details of Excel in this format. And when you see a PDF, you get to see the details in this format only. But for filling purposes, you will get an Excel, and wherein you can provide all the details in the Excel and you can upload the data, subject to all the validations, whatever are applicable. And you have another section, small section called how many subsidiaries are which are yet to commence operations, which have been liquidated during this information. Similar information is available for associate and joint ventures also. So wherever the big table that you see, you will get to see an option to download the Excel and provide the details in Excel, and then you have to upload. So if you have already seen Excel functionality of Form 3 LLP or Form 4 LLP or Form 11 LLP, so it is similar to that. Okay, so this is about AOC 1. So I'll quickly show you the remaining 4 forms also once. AOC 2. It is for related party transactions. Here, this form is again bifurcated into 2 sections. One is contracts or arrangements or transactions not at arm's length basis. And second section is transactions at arm's length basis. Again, here also you get to see a big table. Right? Here also you get to see Excel functionality. This Excel functionality will be visible whenever you're filing the form in online mode in the web screen. Okay, so here also we have introduced Excel functionality for the stakeholders' ease, so that you can fill in the details in a faster manner and you can simply upload the Excel. This is about AOC 2. E-auditor standalone I'll open. Here you have to provide the details, opinion of the auditor, basis of the opinion, all this information, which are text boxes, and qualifications and reservations, if any. And all these fields are basis your relevant sections and rules. And 6B is talking about your CARO applicability. If you have, if CARO is applicable to your company, then you have to say yes and you have to provide the details. All these line items are taken basis the CARO 2020, which is the latest CARO which is applicable. Please note that if you have, if you're filing this form for any previous financial years and you think that any one of the CARO parameter, the clause is not applicable, you can write not applicable, which is already will always come as a drop-down value to you. But otherwise, these currently, whatever the line items that you see is basis CARO 2020. So we have optional attachments. If you want to attach any other details, you can attach. And this, please note that all the linked filings also have to be signed digitally by the signatories of the company. So this is about e-auditor standalone, and then e-auditors consolidated also. I'll just show you. So here also we have similar fields, whatever the fields that we have seen in standalone with auditors qualifications and all. And this you get to see one extra clause which is applicable for consolidation, this is again taken from CARO order only. So there's a last clause, I think clause number 26 or something. So basis that if you have any reservations against your group and subsidiary companies, then you have to provide these details. So wherein you have to give a reference of your SIN number and what is the clause number or para number and reason. So this is one of the additional point that you get to see in consolidated auditor's report. So the last one, e-directors or extract of the board's report. So this board report is basically capturing too many details basically, but we have this one radio button here, whether the company is a OPC or a small company, as at the end of the financial year. Depending on this form, this radio button only, your entire form will behave, because many clauses are not applicable for OPCs and small companies, right? So accordingly, so we have enabled or disabled the fields, or we have made these fields as conditional mandatory based on that radio button. So all this field by field, whether this field is applicable to which company or not, what all the new fields that we have added, everything will come in the form of help kit. Whenever we go live with these forms, we will get a help kit, and help kit will contain all the details of these fields, applicability, if any, wherever Excel functionality is there, what is the process to download, everything will be given in the form of help kit, so that users can go through that help kit and they can start filling the forms. And here also, wherever you see a big table, we have added Excel functionality. So this I have mentioned it, CSR details, if it is applicable for prior to financial year 21. So you have to give the details of CSR2 in board's report. CSR2 will not come into picture in this case. Like we have rule 8A, 8A disclosures. So all these line items, mostly these are text boxes or numeric numbers. But it is these are actually, please note that it is not a complete board report. It is only extract of board report, which are critical points which we need to capture within the form, and we can use this for data analytics or for reporting purposes. So this is about new forms that we have added. I'm not going to discuss the existing forms, because we have already discussed about the layouts. We must have already seen it, right? Now let us quickly talk about this offline functionality. What is this offline functionality? How it is different from your online mode? So offline process is designed to streamline the submission of IOC4 and make it more user-friendly. So this basically right now, as we've said, all these forms in V3 are web-based forms. Suppose if you are a company secretary or a chartered accountant, wherein you are assisting the companies to file your annual filing forms. Say you have 50 companies for which you have to comply, and the deadline is, especially the small companies, you have a common deadline within the same month, right? So in those cases, it is practically not possible for you to log in because you have to log in into the system if you have to file a web form. So handling these 50 companies at one go by using only one user login, it is not actually possible. So what we have come up with the functionality is basically, which is called offline functionality, wherein to ensure that users can fill a basic information which is applicable for your parent form or the linked filings. And once you fill in your basic information, whatever the numbers that you can give, whatever the numbers that are applicable in a form, in that particular form, or whatever the details that we can capture in the form of Excel, so all such information we will be taking in the form of Excel only. So how the process happens is, I'll just show you the layout of AOC4 for your reference. So whenever you are coming and filing AOC4 offline, so whenever, so basically in the navigation menu, if you want to file AOC4, you get two options: AOC4 normal form, AOC4 offline form. Whenever you click on AOC4 normal offline form, so you have to come and file the basic information of your company, your AGM details, maybe first 2-3 pages of your form, wherein most of the details of auditors, this entire auditor section anyway is going to get pre-filled based on your auditor. Only the basic information and also the information that is required for me to decide which linked form is applicable to this particular filing. So like, for example, whether Schedule 3 is applicable or not, this is very critical for me to define with what layout I have to show to the user, because without this field, we will not be able to, if you say no, there's no need to display balance sheet and schedules, right? So accordingly, so we have few other fields like related parties applicable, yes or no, consolidation is applicable, yes or no. So basically, we are capturing minimum details of that company, their financial year, AGM details, and auditor details, and the linked filing applicability related radio buttons is what actually we are going to capture in your offline web screen, initial screen. And once you submit this first parent form ka screen with the minimum details, then basis this, we will enable you the linked filing panels. For suppose, let us say, at least suppose, let us say, assume that I don't have consolidation and CSR is not applicable to me, nothing is there. So at least I have to file AOC4 and extract of board's report and extract of auditor standalone, right? These three forms we will, these two linked filings we will enable. I'll just show you. So I want to give you a simple example. So suppose, for example, you have submitted the parent offline form with those 10-15 fields, and then you click on submit. Basis that, we will enable a panel or accordion wherein you have to provide only the basic information of that linked filing only. Because basis this information, I will generate a predefined Excel to you so that you can fill in the details only in that particular section of the Excel. So what actually happens is, suppose, let us say, extract of auditors standalone. So we only capture in the web screen how many number of qualifications, reservations you have. If you have any, you can give this number. If you don't have, you can put a 0. So same way, if you say whether Caro is applicable, yes or no, if you say yes, then I will enable all the Caro related fields in the Excel. If you select no, then we will not enable that section only. So like this, whatever the minimum details that are required to define how many rows or how many sections that I need to enable in Excel, so that you can fill in this detail offline mode. You need not connect with the internet, or you need not log into the system to file this form, this Excel, fill in this Excel sheets. Once all your Excels are ready, then you can come and upload one by one. Then you can, that time you have to log in and you have to upload. That's how this functionality of offline would work. So basically, to put it in a simple terms, you have to provide the parent form ka basic details, maybe 10-15 fields, including identification of applicable linked forms. Then you have to submit that. Once you submit that screen, you will get the remaining, whatever the applicable linked filing screens with the minimum 1 or 2 fields, which requires for the system to enable your Excel. Only that information is what we are going to capture on the screen, web screen. And once this is done, so let us say you have e-auditor standalone and board's report. Last is the board report. Board report also we are taking only few set of details where your tables are involved. I have to regenerate the tables based on certain number and all. So only that information is what is going to get captured here. Once we fill in all this basic information of parent and applicable linked filings, you have to click on submit. And after that, we will be generating one Excel. So you can see you will get an option called Excel generation is in progress. Please wait. And one Excel gets downloaded with all the applicable linked filings and the parent form ka Excel. So one zip file will get downloaded. I'll just show you sample Excel also, how it gets downloaded, what is the look and feel of that Excel. So you have to download this folder, and inside the folder, you will have all the parent form is mandatory, and at least e-director, extract of auditors and extract of board's report will be there. And apart from that, if any other linked filings are applicable, those many Excels will get generated within that zip file. You have to download that zip file, and then you have to upload one by one. So once this data is filled in each of the Excel, you have to come here and upload each of this Excel. And if you have any validation issues here only, before going to the next Excel only, we will be throwing one error text file, and you have to see the text file, and you have to correct the data. Otherwise, if everything is correct, then you can move on to the next Excel. Like this, you can upload. Only at the time of uploading, downloading part, actually, you have to log into the system. Otherwise, you can share these Excels with anybody, your subordinates or any of the other officers or within your team, and you can actually basically divide your work, or you can fill these details without any dependency on the internet or without any dependency on the MCA portal. And you can do a parallel filling also. So there is no need to log into the system. Only you have to make sure that you should know what are linked filings that are applicable to you. Whatever the information that you're providing at the beginning, that has to be accurate so that rework will get avoided. So otherwise, this is the functionality that will help the stakeholders to fill in the forms parallelly without any dependency on your login. So once all your Excels are uploaded, so you have to give the attachment details which are applicable to each form. So like this, each form ke liye, with here at one place, you will be providing this, and then you will be submitting the form. So this generate project ID is applicable for CSR2. Otherwise, the normal process, once you submit, then your SRN gets generated. Everything is as per the normal process. So this is about the offline functionality. So I'll just quickly show you one sample Excel, how these Excels would get downloaded for your reference. So, sorry, I'll just open it again. This is one of the folder when you click on the download Excel, right? So this is how this folder gets generated on your system with your SIN number followed by your financial year, start date and end date, and with the date. Okay, so if you click here, so in this form, I have actually chosen only, I've not selected any of the linked filings applicability. That is why I've got only auditor standalone and board's report. So now if you open AOC4, which is a parent form, this is how your Excel looks. So some instructions and then form. So here, important point to notice, it is basically a kind of a normal, whatever the layout that you see in the form, in web form or in the PDF, it is in the same format. So first thing is point number one, whatever the details that you filled in your web form. So by basic details, right, 10, 15 fields, whatever the fields that you filled in, all this would come as a pre-populated so that you know which company you're filing the form, what all details that you've provided. You did not go back and check what details I've provided in the web screen. So instead, everything will come and pre-populated, but whatever the fields that you have added here, these are not editable in the Excel. If you have filled in a field in the web screen, you cannot edit in the Excel. So if you want to edit something, then you have to go to application history, edit the form, and then you have to edit. Otherwise, we will not allow you to edit the field which is already provided in web screen. So this is how your entire data gets populated. Please note that. And here auditor section also got pre-populated. And here you may get a doubt, what about my previous year numbers? We said it will pre-filled, everything will get pre-filled. So here also, whenever we are generating the Excel, we will populate your previous year numbers also, because that is the reason why we are taking your financial year start date and end date in the web screen. So we will be pre-filling your previous year numbers. Suppose if you see for this company, so this is my previous year, 31st March 2023. You can see everything got pre-filled from your previous year filing. So all these schedules, balance sheet schedules, P&L, everything got pre-filled from your previous year. So same way as I mentioned here, if you see, reason for change also is here. If you are editing something here, then this field gets enabled for you to provide the reason for change, whatever the what is the reason for changing your pre-filled data. So you have to provide this, but it is not mandatory. It is optional for the user to provide the reason. So this is how you can fill in all the details, and you have this copy paste option. So you need not punch in, suppose especially you, it is painful activity because it had this form, AOC4 form has almost 250 fields, right? Most of the fields, especially for small companies, most of these fields are not even applicable. Suppose we have around 40 plus financial parameters, but all these parameters are mandatory, but you have to, if it is a web form, you have to go to each field, enter 0, 0, 0, 0. Suppose if out of this 40, 7 parameters, 20 are not applicable, you have to punch in 20 times 0. But whereas here in Excel, you can just copy this and just suppose wherever it is not applicable, you can do a copy paste. So it will save a lot of time for the stakeholders. So this is about the functionality of offline utility. So ma'am, Deepa ma'am, do we have time? Can we continue can I show for 1 or 2 field forms, or can we take up the questions?
Hello, Deepa madam. Yes. Hello. Surbhi madam. I think we have more than 200 questions with me during this webinar, madam.
Yes, sir.
I already received from various stakeholders, various attendees, and all the questions has their impact either on legal side or on some technical side. It seems very difficult to take all the questions as of now.
Yes, sir.
Is anybody from Surbhi madam, please? Deepa madam? What is the last time to conclude this webinar? Please tell me. Let me check. By that time, you can continue. And what without their contact, what I can say that we can have second webinar. We should plan this because there are so many questions.
Yeah. If I explain too much also, sir, I think there's so many points that we can cover. If you want me to demonstrate 1 or 2 forms which we've already filled, I can show. But yeah.
Vijay, I think we should, if possible, then let us take some of the queries and see to it if we can reply to some of the queries. Sir?
Yes, so I'll start with the question answer. Whatever, by the time till the officers are allowing us from headquarter technical team. Is it audible from my side?
Yes, sir.
So before going to the question answer which was received from stakeholders, I have also few questions that can also be summary of user's question. See, first of all, let me say that there are rules, right? There are specific rules under the Companies Act, which the forms under which the forms have already been prescribed, either AOC1, AOC2, or AOC4, whatever, CSR, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
we presume that the prescribed form and the form which you are making available to us as a linked form,
yes, sir,
is fulfilling the requirement of the rules. And
yes,
we
sir.
also,
All this true. Yes, sir. So all the
let
rule
me
changes
let me
sir.
complete complete
Yes,
my
sir.
questions.
Yeah.
So in past experience, we have seen that the MSME1, which are overriding to the MSME Excel sheets, which you have provided in MSME1 filing, which is something overriding the rules and demanding more details. So is it so in this case also, or you have taken care that you have restricted yourself with the prescribed rule? Who will check this check and balance? I just have a question on this legality point.
So, sir, to answer your question, so from legality point of view, what rule amendments, the notification will be taken care by MCA. I think MCA is going to come up with a new notification with all these changes, whatever the changes that we've discussed, including the layouts, re-notification of the layouts. So, we request you to wait till the notification is out. But yes, all these changes have been taken care while notifying the rules, while amending the rules, wherever it is required to be required to amend the rules. So they've already taken care, MCA policy and MCA governance.
Yes, but the answer is said that notification will come, but before notification, there is an implementation deadline already, right? So the stakeholder has to follow your e-forms, file linked form and all the forms. See thoroughly there is a change in all the
maybe we can. Yes,
Rajesh,
you want to?
yes.
Vijay,
I think
for a minute.
Yes.
Rajesh, notification is coming. Day after tomorrow, you will get the notification. And deployment date is 14th July. So you not to worry. That should be in line with the rules.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So now one further question regarding list of the shareholder. You have pre-filled forms, right? Excel sheet.
Yes,
so
sir.
Is it required to enter by row each entry, or there is an import facility in Excel sheet itself? Can you show that Excel sheet?
Yes, sir. We will show that Excel. There is no import facility. You have to provide the details. Whenever you download the Excel, so you will be able to download the Excel in a predefined format. So, but you have to you are required to provide the details in that format only. If you try to deviate,
sorry to interrupt. Then, in case of 1,000 of members are there in the list of member, right?
Yes, sir.
So LTI is expecting us to enter each and every one, right?
Yes, sir. And in fact, this is what is happening in V2 also, sir, but only in the form of a separate service that is happening. The format, you get to see a new columns that got added in V3, but otherwise this functionality is up and running in V2 also, but only through a separate service.
It was never required to be entered manually in Excel sheet. We have our own Excel sheet, which we can attach as a PDF format. But here you are asking for predefined Excel sheet, which are not allowing to import the data from other Excel sheet, right? So manually we have to enter, which is very cumbersome. Please, sir.
Sir, this is the requirement which has been asked. It has been done as per the requirement of MCA. Second thing is, sir, we are already having this functionality for the IPF forms where the stakeholders, where the companies are providing the data in those forms in Excel format only, and that to predefined format, sir. So the similar ask has been told to us to import it and put it into the Excel format, because requirement of providing the list of shareholders and debenture holders is that as per the section 92, sir, whenever you are filling in the annual return for the company. So this has been done as per the regulation which is there in the law.
But sir, I am not challenging the regulation. I am challenging the data entry. See, you are asking us. So there are so many softwares and other portals like GST and all the portals, income tax. They are allowing us to import the data. Say, for example, GSTR1. There are n number of entries in GSTR1 of sales entry, right? Here, in the same way, you could develop the facility.
Sir, I will tell you that
convey the feeling. You can convey. See, the time limit which was allowed is 30 days and 60 days in case of MGT7 after AGM, right? And we have to enter data every year, and it runs for big listed company. It definitely going to run more than 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 members. And entering data one by one, it is too much.
Sir, that is not the ask. Actually, the RTAs are maintaining the data as per the format which has been provided. We are not asking any of the information which is not there with the RTAs, which are available to them wherever the big companies who are there, who are keeping this data in that Excel format only, sir. As I told you, sir,
I request to develop a modality by which we can import directly that data into the form. You can instruct accordingly to all the RTAs, right? To have this kind of the format only for annual filing, they can develop. And we just have to import that file in your e-forms. Why you are allowing us as a person to enter the data? So there are so many human error can be there in the data entry also. And time consuming requirement is also, time consuming form is also there. We can suggest you, sir. You just understand the situations. You can instruct all the RTAs to develop annual filing Excel. You can convey your predefined Excel sheet to them and tell them, please develop these in your output reporting they have very predefined programming in there, and they can develop easily. And we can just ask them to provide that file. We can import that file in your e-forms. So all the time can be saved.
Sir, MCA officials are already here. They will take the feedback
So
from
please
you.
note it down from
yes,
our side,
sure,
please.
sure.
So this
sure,
can be
sir.
the practical solution. This can be the best practical solution. Instead of
Sure.
entering at company level or at certain professionals level data entry of one by one, the work is duplication, nothing but else. Which RTA is already maintaining. They are providing in Excel sheet in different format, and you are asking in predefined Excel sheet. We have to copy paste or we have to manually enter. So there can be a huge chance of human error, sir. And time consuming process is also there. Just instant reaction to on this. So please put down these suggestions simultaneously.
Sure, sir.
And my next question is regarding transfer of the shareholders, list of the share transfer, which was not, I think, discussed. Is it there?
Yeah, it is there, sir.
So it is again also in
predefined
predefined Excel sheet, right?
Yes, sir.
So we have to enter again one by one transfer detail, right? So it is
right, sir. That is the predefined format, and for all the Excels which are there is a predefined format, sir.
So I suggest in general terms that whenever there is a predefined Excel sheet which has records, right, which has requirement of putting the records, try to develop the facility to import in Excel itself. Try to develop that. So we can easily import another format from Excel in this format, just putting in the field in similar to that are all field available in the predefined Excel sheets. What I'm saying, see, we have to just arrange that fields according to your requirement, and we can import that accordingly. Sir, I was aware, and I has been made part of this marathon of UAT testing in last year also. So assuming that last year UAT testing queries has already been captured, right? Sir,
we have
you
already...
have yes, you have said regarding certain reason for changes in previous year figure, right? Reason for changes, right?
Yes, yes.
So you said it is optional. So user can skip that giving the reason. There is no legal action to be taken against him, right?
Sir, about the legal action, if it is a query from the LTM team, so LTM team is not will be in a position to reply to that. But yes, sure. From MCA, we can ask this clarification. So as of now, sir,
changing of the previous year's figure can be for any reason, regrouping of figures, reporting in correct way, which was previously may be wrong due to interpretation and classification of accounting entry. So there can be many reasons. So we can, users, for the sake of save the time and to meet the deadline requirement, they can skip the reason, and because of they have not mentioned the reason, there can be an action. We have fear. So please convey this, that there should be relaxation in taking the actions in initial phase. My next question regarding MGT8, sir. You have said that MGT8 is already incorporated now in the MGT7, right?
Yes.
So
Sir.
are there any flexibility to rewrite the column to mention certain qualifications or to mention certain compliance, non-compliance in MG? Because MGT8 is certification. It's equivalent to compliance report, right? It can be a mini other way. It can be a part of the secretarial audit. Say there are certain column for which we have to as a PCS we have to mention certain qualifications. So is the facility is there or not in MGT7 or sorry MGT8?
So 1 second, sir. I will just display the layout of MGT7.
MGT8 which have incorporated in MGT7, right?
Yes, sir. 1 second. I'll just display form MGT7. Hope my screen is visible, Seema.
Yes, it is
Vijay,
visible.
It is visible.
So, sir, this is how this MGT8 is converted into form fields. Or if you can see, this is what the threshold limits.
Yes.
And then we have this points, and then all these clauses are given here. And then the TSC section.
Okay. Okay.
So
So there
if
is a
any-
we cannot. Yes, you can please finish your
So if
side.
any other specific point needs to be given, or if you want to highlight any specific point, as such, there's no checkbox here. But if you can very well provide this information, additional information, if you want to add that, you can provide it in the optional attachment. But in terms of the form structure, this is how you get to see the MGT8.
No, madam. This is again. I think this is very, very dangerous for us being a professionals. One way I am certifying that things are complied, and in other way you are asking me to attach in separate additional attachment. So logically, this don't seems. And in first phase of UAT previous year, in same we have from the many stakeholders, we have received this query, and in UAT testing we have raised this query with suitable amendment, with expectation that there can be a suitable amendment. And I request again to pause on this, please, before putting implementation of MGT7, incorporating MGT8 under the MGT7. We are certifying, madam, and I have to highlight something which is minor or maybe major in terms of non-compliance or compliance.
Sir,
How can I?
Yeah. So Seema, Ramesh sir is there, sir?
Yeah, Vijay, I'm there.
Sir, we are certifying these forms, right, as a professionals.
Correct.
MGT8 is certification in case of other than small company.
No, the requirement is, Rajeshji, if you are qualifying on this 18 points, it's okay. You are saying no, beyond this, I have some observation I want to give in my report. I think your question is like this, no?
For example, let's say the one point is saying that calling of AGM, holding of board meeting, if any meeting is there is within the time and record are maintained. But I have to mention that company has maintained the record except one register which are under process. मैं कैसे लिख पाऊंगा वो हीरो?
That will capture through attachment only.
But then how can I certify in form itself?
No, but certification.
So I have to redraft MGT.
Your observation will capture through attachment only.
So in practical scenarios, sir, if you have realized what something is happening at the table of the PCS, I have to again reprint the MGT8, which you have already removed, right? Attachment of MGT8, right? So you are asking me to attach again MGT8 with my qualification whenever it is applicable. So I have to reproduce all the form again, putting my signature along with the remarks. Otherwise, something will.
No.
I think ICSI, if somebody from ICSI, please take note of this, please, and report appropriate forum to the MCA portal, please. This is need to be corrected. We cannot attach the only qualifications as an attachment to MGT8, which was already removed by you, and incorporated in MGT7 only. See, the legal implications is there. That is what I am highlighting.
Okay, you report through your institute, we'll see.
सर ऑलरेडी एक साल पहले कर दिया है कि वहां फिर भी ये यहाँ आया है. दैट इज माई वरीड ऑल्सो वरी. हमने लास्ट ईयर पूरा एक्सरसाइज किया था यूएटी टेस्टिंग का, जब उस टाइम पे यूएसटी टेस्टिंग चले थे एनुअल फाइलिंग के. तो जब हमने तब दिया था पूरा लिस्ट, आप उनको रिव्यू करते, मतलब करे होंगे, फिर भी ये आया है तो आप देख लेना उस हिसाब से. अगेन वी विल रिप्रोड्यूस, नो प्रॉब्लम. Sir, related party is also there in the LODR and all, so there cannot be a duplication. Please, we need to take care. Now coming to the few questions from stakeholders. Deepa madam. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So how much time we have?
Sir, we can conclude if we have done all the questions.
नहीं क्वेश्चंस तो मतलब काफी बाकी है अभी या तो
Sir,
फिर
we can extend by 5:30.
5:30 so 15 minutes I will try to cover more as many as questions. Let me start. Sir, as regard to the ADT1, which is SRN, putting the SRN of ADT1 in MGT7 and AOC4, right? So the data will be auto-populated based on the ADT1. So what are due care has been taken for changing the auditor or not? So previously, if we have filed for 5 years and there is a change in between after 3 years itself, so is there any provision for that? So do we have to put new SRN or old SRN?
Sir, as of now, you have to provide the new SRN. It is only one SRN that you can refer at a point at a time. If the auditor is changed, suppose initially you appointed for 5 years and later on you've changed the auditor after 2 or 3 years. Anyway, we have this financial year period from and period to check now, right? So you have to refer the auditor ADT1 SRN, which is applicable for the financial year for which you are trying to file the form.
What about newly incorporated company? Because mandatory requirement is not there for ADT1 in case of newly incorporated company.
So, sir, actually, in V2 only we have added this first auditor appointment, and moreover, whatever the process that is there in V2 system, that if ADT1 is not required to be filed as per the Act, so you have an option to provide Z9 SRN, that is still continued, but in ADT1 and even in V2 also we have enabled this auditor's appointment for first auditor appointment also. There is a purpose. But yes, we have handled the scenario the way it is getting handled in V2. That if the auditor's appointment form SRN is not available, you can enter 9 series SRN the way it is happening in V2. So that we have continued in V3 also.
Okay. So previous filing of returns is pending. Can we file a AOC4 in the V3 portal?
You mean to
Yes.
say, yes, sir, there is no restriction.
Yes.
But only the thing is they will not be able to, I mean, system will not be able to pre-fill the previous year values in this case because you have not done your filing. Otherwise, there is no mandatory requirement that sequentially you have to file the form sequentially, but it is advisable to file the form sequentially so that your numbers will get pre-populated based on the previous year numbers. But as such, there is no mandatory condition.
So, as an addition to what Vijaya has mentioned, I would like to add here that now since the V2 will be weeded out, then whatever filings or previous year filings, except for 1956 forms, whatever filings is to be done, the previous year filings has to be done through V3 only. And the process will remain the same, that the filings will be done as a link filing for AOC1, AOC2 and director's report and auditor's report.
Okay, sir. So from 18 onwards, the V3 portal will be live, right? So
14th July, sir. 14th July.
14th July.
Sorry, 14 July. Okay.
Yes.
And suppose the scenario is that the AGM of particular company has completed in the mid of June or at the 30th June. So effectively, they have 30 days to file the forms, AOC4, and 60 days to file the. So technically, if you want to file the forms after 15 days, that is 14 already there. So after 14, he has only 14 days to file the form, right? Technically.
Yes, sir.
You
understood what I'm questioning?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So let's say, for example, the company is having on 1st July, the AGM date is there. So effectively, he has 30 days for AOC4.
Yes, sir.
But he cannot file in new version, even though he want to file.
Yes,
and
sir.
If he wait till 14, then he has only effectively 14 days. Because after passing of the 14 days, the old form will not be available.
So,
though
sir,
he has
got your
prepared
point.
as per the old.
Yes, sir. So, got your point. I think MCA will come up with a circular with all the required waivers in this case. I think Ramesh sir is also there on the call. So,
no, but Rajesh ji, what is your question? 14 days you will not file. You will wait for after 30 days you want to file, na?
सर मेरा स्टेच्यूटरी लिमिट है 30 डेज का AOC4 का.
ठीक है
1 जुलाई को मेरी AGM खत्म हो रही है.
ठीक है.
तो मुझे 30 दिन कहां से काउंट होगा? AGM से या जब लाइव होगा V3 तब से?
डेट ऑफ AGM से ही कैलकुलेशन होगा. एंड वी आर कमिंग विद अ जनरल सर्कुलर. वी विल नॉट चार्ज एनी एडिशनल फी फॉर 45 डेज और 30 डेज. पॉलिसी कुछ कर रहा है. यू विल गेट 30 डेज. डोंट वरी.
Okay. So previously concluded AGM cases will be given a phrase 30 days from the date of effect of new form. There can be assumptions, right, for this relaxation.
Yes.
Okay, sir, no problem. In V2 portal, if V2 portal is completely closed, how we check the transaction status of forms filed under V2, like example NDH4, which were available in that form, and what about the VPD services which were previously available in V2 portal? Now, is it available in V3 or not?
After V3 will go live, sir, whatever functionalities which were there in V2 will get transported or transferred to the V3 portal, sir. And your application dashboard will tell you the application status of your previous filling for filled form. Your forms have already been, this NDH4 form is already moved to V3, and whatever VPD services which were available in V2 for the V2 live forms will now move to V3, sir.
Sir, as regard to the attachment of the photograph of a registered office, so is there any specific guideline for capturing the photographs, say inside, outside, or is it outside photo, one photo is enough, two photo is enough? So is there any specific requirement?
The way it is there for INC22, the similar functionality has to continue. You have to give the, for INC22, you have to give the registered office address photograph. That is what is required to be done. So that is required to be complied with.
So corresponding rule changing in the rules will be followed for this, because MGT7 में ये कोई rules में there is no requirement, right? The active was there already for a certain period of time. Now it is not inactive. But we are again making live in MGT7 for every year. So corresponding change would be there. We assume that corresponding change in the would be there in the rules. And as regard to the mentioning of email ID, how would you going to deal with the issue like being generated in 2526 with wrong email ID and there is no solution on? See, in some time we CRF form is not maybe rejected or somewhere. I think this is related. So can we edit or update the email IDs in this annual filing?
No, sir. Email ID edit is not available the way it is there in V2. This email ID is non-editable field in all these forms.
Okay.
So if your DIN is allotted during the current financial year by providing incorrect email ID or the mobile number, then they have to raise a CRF and they have to get this updated first, and then only they'll be able to file the form. I mean, sign the form. There's no restriction on filing, but in terms of signing the form or creating their business user.
And as regard to the holding company has applicability of filing XBRL form, right? But subsidiary company, which is Section 8 company, has a normal filing, and CFS is not required. What will be the course of action in these kind of the cases?
Sir, can you please come again with the question, please?
Yes, sir. See, holding company having a subsidiary under Section 8 has applicability of XBRL filing. Suppose applicable is to holding company. And subsidiary company which is exempted from the XBRL because it is Section 8 company and may not be applicable XBRL filing. So CFS is not required in these kind of the scenario. How will we can deal this?
CFS or sir,
the question is regarding CFS is not required in this scenario. What will be the course of action in such cases?
So, sir, if the holding company is file, so basically you're talking about holding company ka XBRL, CFS is not applicable for XBRL filing, right? So, sir, maybe you can provide us this question in a detail.
So I will reframe this question in later on because I need to cross check with the person who is asking these questions.
Yes, sir.
No, what is the appointment? It is already covered. V3 portal is already covered. So is AOC4, ADT1, MGT7 data interlinked? Will there be any pre-filled field like SRN of ADT auto-populated with AOC4 or not?
So, sir, first of all, ADT1 SRN reference is only there in AOC4 forms. It is not there in MGT7. So, in
Okay.
terms of linkages, so the normal current linkages that we have, for example, if you are filing AOC4 form first, which is 30 days due, mostly most of the companies would be filing AOC4, wherein you are referring one AGM date or due date of AGM dates. These checks are already working in V2 also. You cannot give different due dates for the same AGM date or different due date of AGM in different forms. Those kind of validations are there. But as such, there are no direct linkages, or wherever you have provided this information like share capital raised during the year, some fields are getting pre-filled, but more or less this will continue as per the V2. Whatever the basic validations that we have, wherein you cannot change your date of AGM or due date of AGM, which you've already reported and that form is already approved, then you cannot change those dates. Such type of validations are there.
Okay. And the question is regarding auto population of SRN of ADT1 itself in the AOC4. Is it so, or we have to put the SRN?
SRN you have to put, sir. You have to add the SRN.
Is there any facility to file revised financial statement?
Yes, sir. So that
Yes, sir.
functionality, we have 4 purposes in the form. One is provisional unadopted and adopted, revised under 2 different sections, 130 and 131. The same purposes are there in V3 also. There is no change.
One another question, I think it is already there, answered. Whether annual filing forms will be Excel-based utilities or like MSME, or it is web-based like Spice form?
So, sir, it is
both.
basically both mixed.
Both.
Both.
Yes.
Yeah.
One question is regarding separate form AOC 1, 2, and CSR, etc. are required to be filed even in case of XBRL?
No, sir. Only CSR2 will come as a linked filing for XBRL. No other form will come as a linked filing to XBRL.
Okay, great. Are we now not required to submit or attach director report, AOC1, AOC2, auditor report separately in the form itself as a attachment?
Yes,
signed
sir.
report.
Wherever there are separate attachments for these AOC1, AOC2 and boards reports, you are not required. Those attachments have been removed, but you still have to attach your financial statements, signed financial statements. But otherwise, wherever forms are getting, the data is attachment is converted into a form, then those attachments have been removed. So there is no facility available for you to attach.
So you mean to say attachment of shareholder list is to be, it can be done through without a signature of director, because there is a requirement of having signed copy of director report, signed
No,
copy
sir.
of.
Sir, all
We
these.
have removed that all signed.
No. So, sir, what I'm trying to say is, we suppose, let us say there is AOC2 related party transactions. Right now, you will come and say you have these many related party transactions and you have to provide the details in the form of attachment, wherein you will be signing physically or something. But now what we are saying is we have removed this attachment. We have digitized all these fields in a separate linked filing. That linked filing has to be signed by signatory. I mean, company signatory has to sign each and every linked filing. It is not just filling the form, linked filing and uploading it. Each form has to be digitally signed by a signatory of the company.
Okay, so see, it can be a same signatory, those who are filing signing AOC1, AOC4.
Yes, sir. AOC.
The parent form is required to be signed by one director, one DSC, right?
Yes, sir.
Right, sir.
Simultaneously, the attached all e-form is to be signed by person who is signing parent form.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So in certain cases, there are requirement of signing by 2 person,
Yes, sir.
2 director in case of financial statement and extract of the, say, let's say, for example, shareholders list. There is a requirement of the signing by 2 person who has signed director report or who has signed the balance sheets. So check has already be there, or we can attach Excel sheet without signature.
So, sir, all the linked filing forms. So in linked filings, you get to see only one DSC section. So it is only one signatory has to sign. You can't see multiple DSCs in these linked filing forms.
And as regard to the predefined Excel sheet, there is no field, right?
No, there is no requirement to put affix a DSC out there.
So, okay, got it. Whether all company filed form can be viewed or downloaded in public search in V3.
Yes, so there is no change in the audience type. So whatever the documents that are available for public, so those will continue to be available in VPD or GCC services. There's no change in that. For example, AOC4 form is a public document. So once this form gets filed in V3 or once these forms of V2 gets moved to V3, you can download these forms by using VPD service. There's no change in that process, sir.
Okay. Is there any facility to round up in thousand on lakhs like it is there in Schedule 3? So
Sir,
whether we
no.
have to put absolute figure or
Absolute figures, sir.
this is also some suggestion we should have that kind of the facility, because we have our financial statement in certain rounded up in nearest thousand or in lakhs, depending on the size of the company as per the rules, as per the schedule.
Yes, sir. We got your
But
point. As of
in
now,
AOC4, we are not there. We are asking for absolute figure.
numbers. Yes, sir.
So company has to prepare two set of the accounts, right? Two set of the financial statement for filing in MCA, full figure, and for other purpose. And even as a attachment, they can file with rounded off.
So, sir, in fact, when this Schedule 3 change got notified, that time also MC has given a notification saying that users are required to provide the numbers in absolute values. So the same is, continued in V3 also. As of now, if you ask us, so the users have to provide absolute numbers.
Okay. So there are so many questions still. I request the team LTI and also team ICSI schedule permit, we can plan for second phase of this kind of the webinar. And with this, I will conclude, and with certain remarks already, which is there in the due course regarding certain suggestions and certain feedbacks, like putting of shareholder data one by one. Instead of that, we can instruct the RTA to develop the predefined Excel sheet by them itself, so we can import easily. Or you can develop that kind of the LTI can develop that kind of the Excel predefined facility which are there already available with the RTA, right? So it can become easy for all the parties and even for government that one click they can get information. Second thing, sir, we have observed in many other, like in income tax recently, they have came out with the use very landmark movement that when there is any change in the income tax portal, they are coming out with relaxation suo moto. In recent case, 31st July is filing of the returns. It is too far, even though they have extended filing of the return till say, let's say 15 September for all individual cases, non-audit cases. So we hope that MCA will also understand the pain which are being faced by all the parties involved in this process. Because in our technical webinar, Madam has already said that it is painful to have putting the 200 field are there in AOC1, AOC4, right, Madam? You also already mentioned that fact in your session today. And with this feedback, I can request on behalf of all the stakeholders who are present and live, almost 20,000 members are there live, 20,000 or more live, they are watching us. So with voice of all the members, and even I second the person who are technically sound involved in this process, to understand the process, to digitalize the things in process in place, we should request you on behalf of us, and I also put forward with on behalf of members through ICSI, subject to approval all the mechanism, for reciprocal relaxation well in time, suo moto reciprocal extension well in time whenever it is required. Because we know that the system has their limitations, men has their limitations, professional has their limitation in new system. So everybody will be in learning phase, teaching problem will be there, certain glitches will be there. See, all of sudden workload would be there on the portal and certain things will there. In past, we have experienced many these kind of the things. So with this, I thanks all the person involved in this webinar. I also thanks to President, Vice President and Council for coming out with this kind of the EEE webinar. And I request MCA and LTI also with much thank you note that please come out with this kind of the webinar again and again, so that we can easily understand the logic. Thank you, madam. Thank you, Deepa madam, and thank you all the ICSI team, LTI team, MCA team. Thank you, members, for giving few questions to us. So keep giving the remarks and suggestions, please. Thank you, friends. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.